Okay, so now we've completed filling in our counting map. The next stage of the process is going to be to fill in the information which is specific to your bar, such as the price you pay for your products, who you purchase them from, and what par levels you have on hand. And let me explain the point of all this. So with all data entry, this is going to be a little tedious, but the good news is the work we do up front is going to help us save time on the back end when we're completing inventory each time. So usually if you're using a clipboard, after you finish counting, there's an annoying manual step where you have to then add up all those counts and transfer and enter that data into Excel. The advantage of using software, we eliminate that stage, meaning that when you count your last bottle or weigh your last keg, all of the information of the product you've counted will be aggregated, added up, we'll calculate how much of every single product is in stock precisely because it's based on weights, and then we'll value those products, which will obviously be used in your liquor calculation. But that's not the end of the story. The software will also compare the current stock level you have on hand of every product with the par level you've set, and therefore it will suggest how much you need to order. And then because the distributor information is stored in there, it will conveniently organize that list of what needs to be ordered by distributor, meaning it will save you time with your weekly order. So let's take a look. The first piece of entering this information is we need to tell the software who we purchase different products from. So we'll do that by clicking on the Distributors tab. And you can see I've cheated and filled in a number. In Colorado here, we work with a number of different distributors. I can fill in our local brewery here. We have Crazy Mountain. Of course, if you're one from one of those states that you purchase all of your products through the state liquor store, you can just put the name in the top cell there, and that will be all you need to do. So after you've filled in the distributors, come to the Product Info tab, and this is where we're going to fill in information about all those products we have on hand. First of all, I'll fill in the name of the bar. Just be silly here, my name's Jamie, so I'll just call it Jamie's Bar. And this information is actually going to be used in the file name, so it's important you fill that in. There's an error flag if you don't fill that information in. And then the next step, you'll see we'll fill in information on each product will be on a single line. And the first piece of information we need is the vessel ID. So conveniently, the software again is going to track which vessel IDs we need to enter, and those will be displayed in the error tab here. So here we are with this missing vessel error, and you can see I've got 9 items I need to add. So the quick and easy way to do this is just select the vessel IDs here, do Control C to copy, come back to the Product Info tab, Control V to paste, and you can see all this extra information is filled in, meaning we just need to fill in the generic information. So in this case I'm just working with 9 new products. When I come back here, you can see those products have disappeared because it knows I've now entered those into the correct table. It's saying, hey, you need all this information for these other products, so we'll fill in that. But if you're doing this for the first time, you're probably going to have a couple of hundred products, so the next 10 will be displayed here. So you just copy those, paste them at the bottom here, and do that as many times as necessary until when you come back here, there's blank because you've got all those things in there. So now let's fill in this pricing information. So Coors, if your good price in this state is like 65, obviously we can select from the drop down that we purchased that from Coors, and let's have a par of 3 for that product. Coors Light similarly typically costs the same. We can purchase it again from Coors, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to use a bigger par because that's typically a big moving product. Now for Budweiser or bottles or cans of beer, quick word of caution here. We're actually going to enter the price per bottle rather than the price per case. The reason for that is that obviously we count the bottles individually, and so just for simplicity we just put the bottle price in, we put the par on number of bottles, and that just keeps our calculations simpler. So if you want to do this calculation, you can do equals, enter the price you pay for a case, in this case $22, and then press divide. And obviously there are 24 bottles of Budweiser in a case, so if the case costs $22.10, that would mean that each bottle is costing us $92. Again, in the distributor column, we can use the drop down, purchase Bud from Bud, and then again, we want to put the par as number of bottles. So 5 cases I know is 120. I know my 24 times table pretty good because I spend a lot of time doing this. Let's skip past these other bottled beer products. Let's come into Tito's. So Tito's, let's say 25 bucks. Purchase it from, I don't know, Republic, and maybe we want to have 3 bottles of that on hand. Crown Royal, more expensive product. Say a different distributor, and we're just going to have 2 of those on hand. Again, I'll skip past St. Brendan's, get into wine here. Oyster Bay, sort of mid-range Sauvignon Blanc, so put a price in like that. I'm not sure, but again, I'll fill in a distributor, and let's say we want to have at least a case of that on hand. So now when I come back to my error tab, you can see obviously those errors have gone away, and previously I had 9 errors. It's just telling me, hey, you forgot to fill in the information for these 3 products. So if you've made an error, if you forget something, it'll point that out to you. After you complete each stage, always come back to the error tab, and then we can fill in the rest of this. And just to get rid of those errors, let me just fill this in just to show you how those error tabs work. So fill that in, come back here. I've deliberately missed out, I forgot to put the par level in with St. Brendan's. So come back here and let's try and have 4 of those on hand. And then of course my error has gone away. So just to quickly recap, first step, fill in your distributors. Second step, come to product info and fill in the bar name. Then come to your error tab and copy the vessel IDs from this column. Paste them into the vessel ID column here. You need to do that a number of times if you're doing this for the first time, so just paste 10 at a time, and then just fill in the information that's specific to your bar. And once you've done that, it'll be set, and this will obviously reload every time you take inventory, meaning this is the first and only time you'll have to do this, and from that point you can just adjust your pars or change your distributors, but all this information will be automatically multiplied through the numbers, which will save you some time.